start the recording. So, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. And welcome to How to Create Your Virtual Board of Advisors. I am Dr. Kimberly West, also known as the AI Doctor, and today is going to be a very interesting session. I am putting in the chat for everyone the link to the student workbook. So, everything that we'll talk about today, all of the prompts that you will see, the framework, whether it's Claude or whether it's ChatGPT, everything is in the workbook. There is nothing that's been left out, nothing that's been gatekept. So you'll have everything that I have gone through myself to create my own virtual board of advisors. So we're going to dive into how to create your virtual board of advisors. And for those of you who have taken a class from me or worked with me a little bit, you know that I teach in a slightly different way than a lot of other people. When I teach, I don't just give you the steps, I don't just give you the prompts, but I give you the strategy, particularly the business strategy behind it. There's a methodology, and it's basically a repeatable process. So I want you to be able to create things, but also understand why you're creating them, how they help your business, what you are able to do with them as we go forward. So yes, we are going to talk about custom GPs. We're going to talk about Claude. We're going to talk about Claude projects. But before we touch that technology, like I said, you're going to do some work that a lot of people are skipping. We are going to figure out, why do you need a virtual board of advisors? What purpose does it serve? Who actually belongs on it? What information do you need to feed it in order to make it a really viable board of advisors and give you really good information? And how to make it useful for making business decisions. So I'm not trying to help you build an AI tool that sounds fancy that you're never going to use. I truly want you to use this as we go forward. All right. So why? Why do we need a virtual board of advisors? Because as business owners, we're making a lot of decisions alone. We decide what to sell, how to price it, how to market it, how to deliver it, whether to hire someone, whether not to hire someone, invest, when to pivot, when to launch, what products. And it's just so much that's going on. Sometimes big companies, they have their boards. They have boards of advisors. They have boards of directors. They have consultants that they can hire. They have legal teams. They have finance teams. But we as small business owners, we often don't have the team itself. It's just us, or maybe one or two resources that we use. We have the technology, we have the notes, we have the browser tabs are all open, and we may bounce some ideas off of a friend, and that friend says, oh, yeah, this sounds really good, even sometimes when it doesn't. But a virtual board of advisors, this gives you a way to bring structured perspective into your decision-making process. So it doesn't replace real professionals when you need them, but it does give you a head start on your business development. So a lot of people who are teaching how to create virtual board of advisors right now, they're approaching it like it's another AI employee build. Write a role, pick a role, write a prompt, create the assistant, and keep it moving. And that does matter, but that's not the entire process. They don't start with the tool. I'm sorry, they do start with the tool instead of the business need. And you guys know I'm always talking about start with the business requirement, start with the business need first. And they also start to choose impressive names to put on their board of advisors. And that's not always the best way to do it. You really need to look at roles. So before you build this virtual board of advisors, the first question you have to ask is, why do you even need one? What's the purpose of the board? What decisions is it going to help you make? What gaps is it going to help you fill? And how will this board help you get from where you are now to where you're trying to go? So if you can't answer that, you're not really building a board of advisors. It's just more digital clutter, another AI tool that we're building that we may or may not be using. So we already have enough of that. So today we are going to build with purpose. That's the big thing. We're going to build with purpose. And for those of you who just came in, I am popping into the chat the link to today's student workbook. You can access that, download it, and I kept it in Word fat format because it's easier to fill out. Much easier to fill out. So since we're talking about why do we need a board of advisors, before we go to the 5-step board framework, I'm going to put the first prompt into the chat, and I'm going to switch to ChatGPT. And let's see, a new chat, and tell me, let me know in the comments if you can see my ChatGPT window. Just give me a yes, or you can unmute yourselves. All right, cool. Yes. So here's the first prompt. And again, this prompt is in your workbook. Act as a strategic business advisor. Help me clarify why I need a virtual board of advisors. Ask me one question at a time about my current business model, my biggest goal for the next 90 days, the decisions I need help making, the areas where I feel under-supported, and 5, the gaps in my business. Very important when we're talking about creating this board of advisors. So, after you ask enough questions, summarize the purpose of my virtual board in one clear paragraph. So, we have a dummy company that we are working with. What's your business model? So, what is your business model? What do you currently sell? Who do you sell it to? How do clients or customers buy from you? And what brings in the most revenue right now? So I am just basically going to, there we go, my business snapshot. I'm going to copy and paste that in, and the business priorities, and that's going to answer some of the questions it's already asking me. So we're giving it the information. All right. Already has the bones of a premium advisory style business. So I'm going to show you what I gave it. The name of the company is Elevate Leadership Coaching. Business type, leadership coaching and professional development. Founder, leadership coach with experience helping women strengthen executive presence, communication, confidence, and promotion readiness. The current business model is private one-on-one coaching. The current offer, 6-month private leadership coaching package priced at $3,500. The current goal is to launch a $10,000 premium coaching program in 90 days. So I won't read all of this to you, but basically I've answered most of the questions that it's going to ask as a result of this prompt. So now it's telling me, okay, since you already answered the 90-day goal, let's move to the next question. What are the biggest decisions you need help making in order to launch the $10,000 premium program? And let's see, think about decisions like what goes into the program, how long should it run, how many should be in the first cohort, whether the price is right. So for this one, I'm going to tell it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the price is right. All right. What should a woman have to walk away with at the end of this program for you to feel confident charging $10,000? And you know what? If you don't know, it's okay to say, I don't know. You can just tell it, I don't know. Help me decide. Because we don't always have all of the answers to the questions. And it's okay, let's make this easier. For a $10,000 leadership coaching program, the outcome cannot be vague. Feel more confident. That's nice, but 10 grand? No. So it gives me the outcome should sound closer to this. And let's see. I'm going to actually tell it to make assumptions for the rest of the questions and give me my why I need a virtual board of advisors. But when you're doing this on your own, I want you to walk through each one of the prompts and I want you to seriously think about what it is that you're putting in. Make sure it really is applicable to your business. And again, since this is a dummy business, we can do this. Based on what you shared, here are the assumptions I would make for the remaining questions. Yes, okay. Premium pricing, group program design, launch strategy, buyer messaging, client experience. The founder is likely strong in coaching, transformation, and client trust, but less supported in converting. And I should make this a little bit larger. How about that? In converting, the biggest gaps are in packaging the transformation, providing the value of the $10,000 price point. But it gives us one paragraph. Here's the why. Elevate leadership coaching needs a virtual board of advisors because the business is moving from a private one-on-one coaching model into a premium scalable group coaching program. And that shift requires more than just coaching expertise alone. The board's purpose is to help the founder make stronger decisions about the offer design, pricing, sales messaging, client experience, operations, and launch strategy so that the $10,000 program feels valuable, credible, and results driven to mid-career and senior women leaders. This board should fill the founder's current gaps by bringing strategic perspective, market insight, premium positioning, operational structure, and customer experience guidance, allowing Elevate to launch with confidence instead of guessing its way into the next level. And this is important because we are going to use this why during the builds when we go into ChatGPT and when we go into Claude. So I've pasted this into a separate document right here, and I'm going to put the why so that I know that I can come back to it. All right, so we have the why we need the virtual board of advisors. And there's a process to this. So the process we're going to use today is the 5-step board build framework. So first, we define the purpose of the board. Second, we're going to diagnose the business. Third, we choose the advisor seats. And notice I said seats, not specific people. After we determine the seats that we need, then we can find specific people that we may know from the public domain or maybe famous for marketing or maybe famous for sales and things like that. But we want to know the seats first. And then fourth, we research the advisors, we research their frameworks, their philosophies, and their sources that can inform those seats. And then finally, we build and test the board inside of ChatGPT or Claude. So notice the technology comes at the very end. This is less about technology than it is about the analysis of your business and what it needs and the business tools and everything else that it needs. And then we go to the technology. So let's meet our demo business, the one that we're going to be using today. And the demo business is a leadership coach, and you just saw some of the information. Right now, she works private one-on-one coaching with clients, and the goal is to launch a $10,000 premium group coaching program in 90 days. And I know that's a number that kind of scares some people, and other people are like, yeah, I want to do a $20,000. You know what? We're all capable. And I'm looking at the people who are on this recording, and I know most of you pretty well. You're all capable of launching a $10,000 coaching product in the next 90 to 120 days. So the strategy, the challenge that she's having is that she needs help with the offer strategy. She needs helping with the pricing, with the sales messaging, with operations, and with customer experience. So this really is true to life. And this is a great example because she's not just asking if AI can help her brainstorm a program, but she's asking bigger and more insightful questions. Is the offer strong enough? Is the price right for my client, for my audience? Can I deliver this well? Will the message attract the right people? Will the customer service experience match this premium price that we are trying to charge? And this is exactly this kind of situation where a virtual board can be very useful. So defining the purpose, come on. Defining the purpose is the next step. That's step one. Before we choose the advisors, before we choose any names, we want to define the purpose of the board. So for the leadership coach in our demo, the purpose of the board is to help her move from private coaching, which is like one-on-one, which is the same thing as trading time for dollars, 1 hour for this amount, into coaching a scalable premium group program, which increases her revenue significantly. So that means that the board needs to help her think through the offer, think through the pricing, think through the messaging, think through the delivery model, and the client experience. And for your business, the purpose might be a little bit different. And you can determine what your purpose is by filling out the information in the student workbook. And give me just a moment. I'll drop that in the chat once again for those who just joined us. There we go. You may need help with growth. You may need help with operations. You may have a new offer, or here's a good one, deciding what to stop doing inside of your business. There are so many different ways that you can use a board of advisors. So the more clear you are on your purpose, the better the better your board is going to be, and the better it's going to help you. So we're going to go and use one of the prompts, the next prompt in your workbook. We're going to go back to ChatGPT, and we're going to do step one. With the information from our dummy company, using the business details below, create a clear purpose statement for a virtual board of advisors. So the business, we gave it the name, the current model, the current offer, and we gave it the goal, launch a $10,000 premium group coaching program in 90 days. The challenge, she needs help with offer strategy, pricing, sales messaging, operation, and customer experience. Write the purpose statement in one concise paragraph. And once it does that, we're going to save it to our document the way we saved the why. So just typing it in there. So the purpose of Elevate Leadership Coaching's virtual board of advisors, and I'm pasting it here, is to provide strategic guidance as the business transitions from a private one-on-one coaching model into a scalable $10,000 premium group coaching program. The board will help clarify the offer, validate the pricing, strengthen sales messaging, design efficient operations, and create a high-touch client experience that supports mid-career and senior women leaders becoming more visible, confident, and ready for senior leadership opportunities. Okay, so we have our why, and now we have our purpose. Before I go on, are there any questions about what we've done so far and basically the clarity map that we're walking through? Okay, I don't see any questions. So let's go to step two, which is diagnosing the business. So now that we know why the board exists, let's diagnose the business. And your board should be built around real business gaps that you have. This is a lot of the time where people get distracted or they don't include it. So people start thinking, oh, I want Oprah on my board. I want Warren Buffett on my board. I want Steve Jobs on my board. And it sounds great, but here's the question. What does your business need? And what is it that these people that you just named, what is it that they can give your business? So if your pricing is a mess, then you need a pricing and revenue perspective, someone who's known for that. If your offer is unclear, you need an offer strategist. So that's why we diagnose and we talk about the seats first before we talk about putting people or personalities into those seats. So if your delivery is all in your head, then you need operations support. If people love your content, but they're not buying, and that happens to a lot of us, you need sales messaging help. So we design the board around the gaps, not the glamour. And let's see, I see a question. Yes, Lisa, a recording will be available. In fact, we're probably going to put this on our YouTube channel. So cool. So here we go. We're going to diagnose the business right now. So our dummy business, or our demo business, I should say, yet another prompt. And again, I don't want to leave you guys hanging. So we've got prompts for every step of this action. And the next step is act as a business diagnostician. Analyze my business across these categories, and it names the 10 categories. For each category, classify it as strong, needs attention, urgent gap, not enough information. Then identify my top 3 business gaps and explain what kind of advisor perspective I need for each. Ooh, that's a lot of information. And this is what you should be doing for your own business. There's space in the student workbook for you to go through each one of these categories and rate your business so that we can get to truly diagnosing your business. So what I'm going to do here for our demo, now this is the prompt you're going to use for your business, but I'm going to use this for our dummy business and analyze this demo business and identify the most urgent advisory needs. Oops, you know what? I did one prompt too far. Here we go. There we go. And we're going to let her run. And here's the business diagnostic for Elevate Leadership Coaching based on the details provided. Strategy, revenue, marketing, sales. So it goes through all 10 of the categories and it tells us where we're strong. It tells us where we don't have enough information. And it also indicates where it may needs attention and also the urgent gap. And then it gives us the top 3 business gaps and the bottom line. So all of this information, very important. I am going to copy the table. I am going to put it over here in our document. So we have that in the document, and we're also going to copy the top 3 business gaps. So we have all of this information in one place. There we go. Bold. I'll do the purpose in bold and the why in bold as well. Actually, Nilda, when we get to the build, we're going to use Claude. So I go back and forth. We're going to do a build in Claude and we're going to also do a build in as a custom GPT. So let's go to step number. I'm going to skip that one because we just went through it. So for you, I want you to identify your top business gaps. What are the top business gaps that you have inside of your business? Where is it that you are leaking? Is it information? Is it money? Is it your offer? I want you to rate each area, strong, needs attention, urgent gap, or not sure. You can choose your top 3 gaps, and you can also connect to decisions. Identify what business decisions are connected to each one of those gaps. Is it that you need more context? Identify what information your board is going to need to give better advice on this. Do they need your business plan? Do they need your marketing strategy? What other documents or information are they going to know? And then we're going to map to advisor seats. So we're going to use the gaps in the business to decide which advisor seats belong on your board. And to do that, of course, I have a prompt. And notice we are still in the same, they're still in line with the same prompt. We're not starting new conversations because we're taking the information and we're allowing ChatGPT to build on it. Okay, based on the business diagnosis below, or I should say above, identify my top 3 gaps and recommend advisor seats. So we already have the top 3 gaps right here. It identified them. Now we're going to recommend advisor seats. And for each top gap, tell me why this gap matters, what decisions are connected to it, what advisor seat would help, and what documents that the advisor is going to need in order to fulfill that. All right. Based on the diagnosis, your top 3 gaps are premium offer strategy and pricing, sales messaging and enrollment strategy, scalable operations, and premium client experience. And this is how I would translate those gaps into advisor seats. So we have the top gap, why this gap matters, the decisions that are connected to it, very important, and where a lot of people kind of skip when they're creating their board of advisors. Recommended advisor seat documents the advisor would need. So it's going to need the current private coaching offer outline, the client results or testimonials, ideal client profile, draft group program idea, competitor offers, pricing assumptions, revenue goals, proposed curriculum or topic list. Now, obviously, this is a long list of documents, and you don't always have to have all of the documents that it's asking for, but the more information you give your board of advisors that you already have, the better the results are going to be. So again, when I built this and I use it for myself, I wanted to make sure that this was airtight, that I was always going to know what documents I need, what the recommended advisor seat is. That way I can map it to an actual person if I need to, or just a skill. What are the decisions that are connected to it? This is sometimes where we fly blind as business owners. What's the core transformation? If you can't answer that, then you got to go back to the drawing board. And Carolyn, I'll get to your question in just a moment. Is $10,000 the right price? How long should the program run? What should be included? So this is helping with the offer, with the creating the offer and answering the premium offer strategy and pricing gap. So Carol Ann wants to know, if you want a specific expert to occupy an advisor seat, where would you insert this information? After you've done this research, after you have identified what seats you need first, because if you want a specific person, that specific person might not even be the right fit after you've done the analysis of your business and done the analysis of what your business actually needs. So I'm going to copy all of this information and I'm going to bring over the document again. So at the bottom, I'm going to put down here. All right, so we've got all that information in our document, and we are going to keep rolling on. So we've identified the top business gaps, and now is where we choose the advisor seats. After we choose the advisor seats, we can actually put a specific person, if you want to, in there. So again, seats, not people. The advisor seat represents the perspective or the methodology or even the expertise that your business needs. The person, the framework, or even the source comes a little bit later. So if you need help with money, the seat that we name might be a revenue advisor or a finance advisor. If you need help with visibility, and a lot of us need help with visibility, that seat might be a marketing advisor. If everything in your business depends on you and everything is in your head and you have to remember what happens next, then the seat is going to be an operations advisor. So, different reasons, different things going on in your business, and that is how we get to the actual advisor seats. So let's take a look at some of the common advisor seats that we might choose from. So we have strategy, we have revenue, marketing, operations, customer service or customer experience, leadership, revenue, sales, finance, legal and risk, and then of course the truth teller, which is one of my favorites. That's the one that basically tells the truth and doesn't let you get away with anything. So every business owner needs somebody who's going to be at the table who's going to say, you know what, that sounds really good, but where's the proof? Where's the process? Where's the documentation? Where's the profit? So we all need a truth teller in our lives as business people. So we're going to go back to our thread. We have all this information, and we're going to pop in that next prompt. Based on my business diagnosis, recommend 5 virtual board advisor seats. Do not recommend specific people just yet. So for each advisor seat, include the advisor title, why your business needs this advisor, what decisions the advisor is going to help you make, what the advisor should challenge you on, because sometimes we need to be challenged. AI will be the yes man and gives us yeses a lot of the time, but we need to know it needs to know when to push back, and that's the truth teller. And what documents this advisor would need in order to give better advice. So I'm going to let that prompt run. And here we are. Based on the diagnosis, I'd recommend these 5 virtual board advisor seats. Together, they give you strategic pressure testing around the $10,000 group offer, the launch plan, the premium client experience, and the operational structure needed to scale without turning the founder into a beautifully dressed bottleneck. And of course, we are usually the bottlenecks in our business. So let's take a look at what seats it advised for us. Advisor seat, premium offer strategy advisor, sales and positioning advisor, client experience and operations, financial model and pricing, executive leadership and market. And this is building on all of the information that we've generated thus far. So it tells you why your business needs the advisor. It tells you what decisions the advisor should help you make, what this advisor should challenge you on. So there's your truth teller, and the documents that this advisor would need. So it gives you all of that information. And then the strongest starting board would include premium offer strategy, sales and positioning, client experience and operations, financial model and pricing, and executive leadership market insight. So that mix gives Elevate advisors who can help it answer the real CEO level questions. Is this offer strong enough? Is this price justified? Can we sell it? How about that? Can we even sell this? Can we deliver it well? That's also very important. And does it match what ambitious senior women actually need right now? So again, I will copy the response, copy the information, bring over my document that I'm working on here, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to tell it, I didn't do the other one. Bottom line, 3 business gaps. Okay, so we have the business diagnostic. So all of this now is all that information is information on our advisory board seats. And I have pasted it into the document. I'm actually going to do this, make them bold, and then center them so I can tell the difference between all of them because we do have some bold already. So the why, we're going to center purpose of the board. We're going to center the diagnostic. We're going to center, we've got the top 3 business gaps, bottom line, recommended advisor seats, and why. Nope, that's part of the previous one. Okay, so just a little bit of housekeeping, keeping everything nice and neat and put together. I'm going to pause. Are there any questions so far? And I know this seems like a lot of pre-work, but to truly get a board of advisors that's going to speak to what you need it to speak to, this is, I know it's a lot. You have to put in the work is basically what has to happen. We have to put in the work and give it the documents and the information it's going to need. So just did the demo of the board advisor seats. So for today, if you're doing this along with me, if you're in your student workbook, let's choose the first 3 advisor seats that we're going to work with. Yeah, we need to start with 3 because trying to do all 5 in this one mini training is going to be a little bit crazy. So for each seat, we're going to do the advisor title, why your business needs the advisor, what decisions they're going to help you with, and what they should challenge you on. So for example, for the advisor seat, the sales messaging advisor, you're going to need to know, why do I need this? My audience likes my content, but they're not purchasing. Very common problem that we have. Decisions that this advisor is going to help with, your sales page, your launch emails, your webinar messaging, your offer positioning, and what they're going to challenge. Possibly vague language, weak urgency, and unclear transformation. And this is how we make your board useful. This is how your board is going to actually be able to help you and get through the issues that you're having. And after this step, we are going to actually research advisors. So we're going to go back, and our next prompt, because we're all about the prompts here. Help me choose the first 3 advisor seats for my virtual board. My top 3 business gaps are, and we're going to insert the gaps. Let's see. We're going to do offer pricing, because we have them here. Why don't I just pick from what's already there? Nope. There we go. We'll choose marketing. We'll choose sales. And what's the other? Okay, so we only had 2 that were urgent gaps. And let's do strategy since that one is at the top. Okay, and this came from, as I said, we're building on top of what we've done already. This came from when it did the diagnostic and it told us what our gaps were. So we know that this is working. For each advisor seat, include the title, why I need it, what decisions, what this advisor should challenge me on, and what source material would make this advisor stronger. And we're going to let her roll. Okay, I'd start with these first three because they line up directly with the biggest gaps: marketing, sales, and strategy. So, premium strategy advisor, that's who we're going to start with. Marketing and positioning advisor, sales and enrollment advisor. Again, why you need this advisor now, the decisions that they're going to help you with, what they're going to challenge you on, and the source material. So, again, the documents that it's going to need in order to make this a strong advisory board, it's going to tell you. We need leave nothing to guesswork. So I'm going to copy this response and put it in my trusty, rusty document over here. Way down. And give me just a moment. I'm going to pause for questions. My top three advisor seats. And I will make that bold and center. And then we will paste the information. So we have the whole table, we have all the information, and it tells you your first three seats should be, and these are the three, and why those should be the first three seats. All right. So I am going to pause. Carolyn, okay, we just answered that one. In fact, that's the next step is we're actually going to research some advisors and sources. Thank you, Nilda. I appreciate this. Darlene, thank you. Let's see, Yvonne, thank you. I have my board based on your other work. Chat knows me. Thank you. Yes, we try to build on the stuff that we've been doing previously. So, all right, choose your first three seats. We've done that. So let's go to step 4, research advisors and sources. So now that we know the seats, now we can research the people. We can research specific philosophies. We can research specific frameworks and sources that will inform each advisor. And this is where the board gets so much stronger. So when I built my own, if you guys saw the post that I made, I built my own board of advisors, and I wanted a board of advisors that looked like me, that had, because of having the experiences. Give me 1 second, Sheila. I will put the link to the workbook in the chat, and that's a downloadable on Google Drive. Cool. I'm glad you got that. So when I created my own, I wanted people who had similar experiences, who had overcome adversity, who knew what it would be, what it's like to be Black and work in corporate America, or Black and work in technology, or Black and female and work in technology. I wanted people who were experts in their field. Melody Hobson, very few people can come close to Melody Hobson when it comes to finances. I wanted her on my board. So when it comes to my business finances, but I created the board seat first and I filled it with someone like Melody Hobson. Reginald Lewis, who was an absolute legend when it came to business deals, wrote a book called Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun, which is about his life and how he became such a great businessman. When I talked about strategy and create the art of the deal, if you will, I put Reginald Lewis in that particular seat. So this is why we create the seats first, and then we go and research the people and we start to bring actual personalities in. So your advisor, and they don't have to be based on one famous person either. In fact, sometimes you can do a composite. You can also create an advisor based on a combination of people or a combination of methodologies. Or if you're a project manager and you're building a board of advisors, and the PMI or PMBOK, that can actually sit in one of the seats. The PMBOK is the Bible of project management. So you can use that as one of your seats to advise you on project management. So it doesn't always have to be a person. It can be articles, it can be books, it can be company case studies, it could be your own summaries, it can be, and especially since the internet has given us such huge amounts of information are available to us, you're the person that sits in that seat, or the thing, the resource that's in that seat, can be almost anything. But If you need to do some research and you want to find people who are going to find people and other resources that are going to help you on your board of advisors, here is the prompt. Again, it's in your workbook. Sheila D says, yes, Ariel, fun diva, and generous leader. Exactly. She's talking about Melody Hobson. Here's your prompt. Help me research possible sources for my board of advisors. My advisor seats are, and it are, I'm just going to put above because it already knows what they are. For each seat, recommend types of people I should research, types of books or frameworks I should look for, types of public interviews, articles, or case studies that would help. What philosophy or perspective? What should I avoid when selecting sources? Do not recommend sources just because they are famous. We don't necessarily want fame, we want quality. Prioritize relevance to my business goals and gaps. So we're going to let that prompt run. And when it's done, of course, we're going to put it in our document. What's it given us? Below our, here we go. Below are research decisions for the first three advisor seats, premium strategy advisor, marketing and positioning advisor, and sales and enrollment advisor. Since you're not choosing people yet, think of this as building the source of DNA for each seat. So types of people to research, books or frameworks to look for, public interviews, articles, or case studies that would help, philosophy this advisor should represent, and what to avoid. What to avoid sometimes is more important than what to put in it because it's going to tell you, it's giving you guardrails. It's putting a little bit of context around what it is that you're looking for. How to prioritize your research, premium group coaching or executive development, not just general coaching. Career advancement, high ticket consultative sales, cohort based delivery and client experience. The best source mix for each seat. One practitioner, one framework, one market, and one contrarian. And then your selection filter. A source belongs on your virtual board only if it helps you make better decisions about the next 90 days. You can adjust the number of days for whatever it is that you need. Does this source help me decide what to sell, how to position it, how to price it, how to attract the right buyers, or how to enroll them? If the answer is no, it may be interesting, but it doesn't get a board seat. Does not need a board seat. So I just copied that. We're going to put this in our document. There we go. We have all of our information, and we are going to keep moving on to advisor source options. So we've done the research. We've got the research framework. The advisor source options, interviews and talks, your own notes, books and articles, case studies, all of these can be considered when you are doing your research. But let's also talk about ethical research. And I want to make sure that we are not uploading full copyrighted books unless you have the permission, unless you actually own that electronic copy. Don't upload unpaid course content without permission. So if somebody created a course and you haven't paid for it, don't use that as a source. Private client materials, do not use those as sources unless you strip the information out of it. Proprietary frameworks. If it's a framework that someone else created and you don't have authorization to use it, then don't. Confidential documents, don't put those in either. You want to make sure you use as much public available information as possible. Your own notes, because we want your own voice, your own personality, you in the mix. Proprietary, original summaries, all of those things can go in, but please act with a little bit, not a little bit, but act with some ethics and make sure that you really do either have permission to use the material or that it's your material itself. Now, there is a script in there. I'm not going to do the demo research plan, but there's a script prompt in your workbooks that will help you go through the demo research plan. And it looks like the offer and strategy can offer the offer strategy advisor. Let's see. Can you use framework that is open use by a strategy team. Absolutely, because if it's open use, then yes, you absolutely can use those. You can basically use anything you want, but I'm just trying to give you some guidelines on some of the ethical areas. So you can use the prompt that is in your workbooks. You're welcome, Sheila. Prompt that's in your workbooks to help you create a research plan for the demo advisory board. Let me grab it. If you don't have a research plan, this prompt will create it for you. And while that's running, come on, research your advisor sources. Identify the possible sources, confirm the fit, check the permissions that you may or may not have, decide the advisor type, and capture everything. The same way I'm doing this in a document and I'm keeping track of all of it, you want to make sure that you do the same. So now we go into creating the advisor packet. And this is now we're turning all of this research, this information into something usable. And the advisor packet is a document that explains who each advisor is, so we can start to put people to it, what they do, what philosophy they bring, how they help, how they challenge, and what they should avoid. This is where you keep the board from sounding generic and everybody else's board with just maybe two or three prompts, and it just gives you very generic advice. This whole process is going to give you very specific advice based on your company. So if you're telling AI, just act as my board of advisors, and it doesn't have all of this preamble, all of this other information, you're going to get the most basic generic information. And sometimes it may even steer you in the wrong direction. It's going to give you surface level. But if you define all of this and you give them the business context and you tell each of advisor how to think, what their specific purpose is, you are going to get such stronger results from your board. So let's take a look at a template. Come on, one more time. There we go. Let's take a look at the advisor profile template. So each advisor profile should include the advisor name or title, what the seat is, what they're inspired by, what's their area of expertise, what's their core philosophy, how do they help, how do they challenge, what's their tone and what's their style, what should they avoid, and what are the best questions to ask them, and maybe some source notes if you have them. So it doesn't have to be complicated. I know it sounds like it's complicated, but it really doesn't have to be. A simple advisor profile is basic. It can be one page, but the most important thing is clarity. The AI needs to know, what is this advisor here to do? What perspective do they bring? How should they respond? And what should they challenge? And this is how we create very distinct, very specific advisor voices. So in order to create the profile template, and I'm going to copy this in just a moment. There's the next prompt. Create a complete advisor profile for this virtual board member, and we're going to choose one board member. But before I do that, let me make sure that I have copied this information into my little document. And let's see, this is the research plan. Move it over. So we're building on all the information that we've had. We've got the research plan. And we're going to center and bold that for aesthetics. And there is the research plan that we received from that previous prompt. I'm going to use the pricing and revenue advisor for this prompt that we're looking at right now, because I know that's an area that we all experience challenges in. So complete an advisor profile for this virtual board member. And this is the advisor seat. Pricing and revenue advisor. Business need this advisor support. What is the business need? I'm just going to say pricing, offer pricing. Now, this is where we can actually put in the specifics. If we want this to be based on a person, this is where you're going to put the person in. A philosophy, a framework, a book, a source, or any other kind of notes. This is where you're going to put this in. So when it comes to pricing and revenue, since we've been talking about Melody, even though this is not 100% her area, I'm going to put her in there anyway. Melodyyhobson. And then it gives us a structure. Use this structure: advisor name or title, advisor seat, area of expertise, core philosophy, how this advisor helps me, how this advisor challenges me, tone and style, what should this advisor avoid, 10 questions that I should ask this advisor. Yes, the prompts that I give you even give you the questions for the advisor that you may not have thought yourself. And then source notes I should gather. And we're going to let that prompt run. All right. Advisor name or title, the revenue reality advisor. Advisor seat, pricing and revenue, the area of expertise, and it gives you a full profile on this particular advisor that's going to be on your board of advisors. How this advisor challenges me, how this advisor helps me, what is their core philosophy? What is their area of expertise? With our tone and style, what this advisor should avoid. 10 questions I should ask this advisor. Source notes I should gather. So it gives you and I think, did I spell Melody's name correctly? I think I did. So this advisor is based on the philosophy of Melody Hobson, and it has taken all of that information into account. We've got the tone and style, questions I should ask, 10 questions you would ask this person when you're looking for advice. Notes that you should gather. Again, you don't always have to have all of these, and this is a pretty extensive list, but as long as you can get one, two, maybe even three in there, it's going to make sure that your advisor gives you even better and tighter information. All right. We're 1 hour in. I'm going to take a short break in just a minute so that we can continue the rest of today's training. Then we have the offer architect. So we have our first demo advisor, and this advisor is going to, fuck, actually, you know what? I did the wrong demo, but that's okay. We already saw what the results were. The pricing and the revenue strategist. So they review the price point, they evaluate capacity, they challenge fear-based pricing, they keep focus on sustainability. Let's see, the third one is the sales and messaging advisor. They help to sharpen language. They identify objections. They clarify urgency. They challenge vagueness. So you can see the differences in each one of the demo advisors or the advisors that we've created. The operations and delivery designer designs group program structure, identifies onboarding, workflow, and delivery gaps, protects the coach from over delivery and scope creep. How many times have we done that? Challenges too many moving parts that create operational chaos. We tend to overthink things, so the operations and delivery designer is going to help you keep it sane, put the guardrails around it, and make sure that you're not going off on a tangent. And then also ensures the program can be delivered consistently and profitably. That's pretty important. The premium client advisor reviews the full journey, creates premium moments, identifies trust builders, challenges weak onboarding. All of this information is in your workbooks. And my favorite, the truth teller advisor, identifies your blind spots, challenges decisions that you may have done in a rushed fashion, and also helps you prevent expensive mistakes. All right, the business document packet. We're almost at build, folks. We're almost at the point where we're going to build. So we have our advisor profiles. We need the business document packet. And the advisor profiles tell the board how to think. The business documents tell the board what to think about. And you do need both of them. So if you only have upload advisor profiles, the board's going to understand the roles, but it doesn't understand your business. If you only upload the business documents, the board understands the business, but it doesn't have an advisory structure. So you need both. You're on both sides of the coin right there. So, come on. The minimum viable board packet, this is the minimum that you want to put into your, okay. It's a minimum that you want to put into your viable board packet. So to build version one, and I'll be honest, my virtual board of advisors is always evolving. But I want you guys to start with a base and don't try to do a lot of upgrading or evolution. Let it help you with decisions for the next 90 days or so. Give it a chance to breathe. So, to build version one, you don't need every document your business has ever created. You want to start with the minimum viable packet. So, we need a business snapshot. We need an offer or a product summary. We need your client profile, a current challenge that you may be experiencing, and the advisor profile packet, which we have already created. The different advisor profiles defining the seat, the philosophy, and the challenge style. This is enough for us to start testing. So again, you don't need every document. As you evolve, as you get more and more sophisticated in your decisions, you can add documents, you can add more to this, but let's just start with this here. Other documents that you can add later, a sales page if you have it, your marketing plan, your brand voice guide, if you have testimonials. What about feedback, customer feedback? Do you have a SWOT analysis that you've done? What's your pricing structure, your curriculum, your onboarding process, SOPs that you've had, financial summary? So these are documents that you can add later on, but I don't want you guys to freak out and feel overwhelmed by having to add all of these documents at the front end. Just let's start with the minimum and let's get everything up and running first. So here we are on the build track. So now we're talking about building. We're going to start with a custom GPT. And most of you, is there anyone who does not know what a custom GPT is right now? Let me know in the chat. Okay, cool. So this is where you want, okay, Katrina, a custom GPT is, now if you're familiar with ChatGPT, you know that we give ChatGPT a prompt, it gives us a response. Very simple, prompt response. A custom GPT is something that's reusable and you can give it to other people or you can use it yourself. And that's one of the reasons why we're starting with a custom GPT. You want your board of advisors to be reusable. You want to be able to come back to them again and again with different questions, different problems. So instead of uploading all of the information about your board of advisors in a regular chat window, we're going to create a container where we can use it over and over again. All right. Custom GPT version is the best when you want a dedicated advisor tool that you can return to again and again, as I was saying. So it's basically like building a custom app for your board of advisors. You give it the instructions, you upload the business documents and the advisor profiles, and you define how it should respond. And then we're going to test it with some business questions. So here's our basic build steps. You open the GPT builder, you create the GPT, you name the GPT, you're going to add a clear description. Of course, it's in your workbooks. You're going to paste the board instructions. You upload the business documents from your business and the advisor packet, and you add the conversation starters. So we're actually going to do this right now. After that, we're going to test with some real business prompts and testing. I see people put out custom GPTs without testing. Please don't do that. Don't assume that your board just works because it exists. No, you've got to test things to make sure it's giving you the right information, giving you the right advice. So let's do this. So right now we're still in the chat in ChatGPT, but we're going to come out of this and we're going to come over. I'm going to open the sidebar and we're going to go to GPTs. And I'm going to click on create. And we have two ways of creating a custom GPT. Of course, we can either click on create and then in regular plain old everyday language, we can tell it what we want to create. Or we can just go to configure, and that's what we're going to use today because you have all of the information in your workbooks to do this. So the name of the GPT is My CEO Advisory Board. There we go. My CEO Advisory Board. The description, and notice we see the changes over here. The description is, give me a second, I'm grabbing that. A virtual board of advisors that helps analyze business decisions, identify blind spots, evaluate options, and recommend practical next steps using my business documents and advisor profiles. All right. Next come the instructions. Now, the instructions are where you define how the board should behave. The instructions include the purpose of the board, your advisor roles, how each advisor should respond, the required response structure, and the instruction to use uploaded documents as the primary context. You also want to include rules. So, for example, a rule could be do not give generic advice, do not flatter me, do not invent information that is not in the documents. That is definitely a rule that you're going to want to include. That way, we won't get hallucinations and we reduce the likelihood that ChatGPT is going to give us a whole bunch of gobbledygook. And yes, that is a real word, especially for us New Yorkers. Gobbledygook is a real word. So, this is the instruction block, and again, it is in your workbooks, so you don't have to figure it out. Please do remember that the instruction block right here has a character limit of 8,000 characters. That does include spaces, punctuation, and carriage returns. So you want to kind of try to keep stuff to an absolute minimum so that you can maximize your instructions. You are my virtual CEO board of advisors. Your purpose is to help make me stronger business decisions by reviewing my questions through the lens of the advisor profiles and business documents I provide. Use the uploaded documents as your primary source of content. We're going to upload some documents about the business. When I ask a question, follow this structure. Situation summary. Briefly summarize the business issue or decision. Relevant business context. Reference the business information, offers, audience, goals, constraints, or documents that matter. The advisor roundtable. Bring in the most relevant advisors. Each advisor should respond from their assigned perspective. Your points of agreement. Identify where the advisors agree. Points of tension. Identify where the advisors disagree, challenge each other, or see the issue differently. So now you're getting multiple streams of thought, and it's going to identify, okay, these are the pros and the cons from this person, that person. And then blind spots and risks. Point out what I may be missing. CEO recommendation. Give me a practical recommendation based on the available information, and the next 3 actions. Give me 3 clear next steps. Your follow-up questions. Ask only the questions needed to improve the recommendation, and then the rules. Do not give generic motivational advice. That's important when you are looking for business advice. Do not flatter me. Do not pretend to know information that is not in the uploaded documents. If information is missing, say what is missing. Stay focused on business strategy, revenue, operations, marketing, sales, customer experience, and leadership. Do not provide legal, financial, medical, or tax advice as certainty. Very important because you don't want to get yourself into trouble. Use the advisor profiles consistently, challenge weak assumptions, separate advisor perspectives clearly, and keep recommendations practical and tied to the business goal. Whew. Okay. What are we going to do next? We've got all that information. Now we need to give it some conversation starters. And conversation starters are simply little buttons that we can use to start a specific conversation or ask for specific advice from this advisory board. So again, these are in your workbook. I'm going to pop them in so that you can see what it looks like as we build out. My favorite one, assess whether this offer is ready to sell. All right, we've got our, let's see. So we're going to create this right now. We haven't added the documents just yet, but we're going to create this, and I'm going to leave it at anyone with the link. So I'm going to give you guys the link to it after it's created so that you can see it and you can use it even. All right. We're not done just yet. So we're going to come down here to knowledge, and it's time to upload some files. And I have a file. Let's see, where is it? I call it the business assets. So that's basically information about the business, all of the documents that we talked about, the marketing documents, the offer information. So, you know what? Why don't I just open that document and I'll show you what's in it. And we had this earlier. So the different demos, but we have current offer, price, format, new offer concept, proposed price, program length, ideal client. Ideal client is senior or mid-career woman, leader. Buying motivation. She's willing to invest in herself. You know what? Let me make this larger. And tied directly to career advancement. So we have the demographics, we have the psychographics, we have her primary pain points, desired outcomes. Let's see, challenge summary. The business owner wants to launch a $10,000 premium group coaching program in 90 days. The main challenge, the board purpose. And then we have the business needs help with clarifying the promise of the group program, designing a premium offer, validating the $10,000 price. So this is all information about the business and questions that we can use to demonstrate that this board of advisors works. Good grief, I just drew a blank for a second. So that's what I just uploaded. In addition to that, I'm going to update this. Now, notice we only created one board member. We need to create one more board member, or otherwise you've got a one-person board, and Melody Hobson's not going to answer stuff about everything. So I am going to go back. We've got the research plan. I'm going to go back to our chat. There we go. And I'm going to go down to where we created our 3 gaps, 5 virtual seats. And let's do a client experience and operations advisor. So we'll have more than one advisor seats, sources. All right, there's a research plan. Advisor pro, there we go. And we're gonna do, so that's the prompt. And we're gonna replace pricing and revenue advisor with client. There we go. Business need, this, let's see. Yep, I'm going to leave it at offer pricing. And I'm going to take out Melody Hobson as the person it's inspired by. Let's see, somebody who is the complete opposite of Melody Hobson would be Brendan Bouchard. There we go. So now we're going to create our second board member. And then we're going to put it in our document. All right, so we ended on our document over here. I think the last thing I copied and pasted over there was the research. Yep, the research plan. So now I'm going to take, there's the research plan. And this is our other board member. Boardmember. All right, so we have our board member, bold, centered, and then their information. So that's the last one. And here's another board member, second board member. And I'll show you what I'm actually doing in my document. So we have 2 board members now inside of our document. And we're going to go back to our custom GPT. Sometimes I move faster than my computer does. Go back to my GPTs, and it should be on the top. Yep, my CEO advisory board. So these are the conversation starters that we already gave it, but right now I want to edit it because I want to upload the document that I just created. I'm going to save it and I'm going to call it board information. So the first document is about the business. This is the document about the board. And you can see it. We're going to put it into downloads and then we're going to save it. So all that information that we generated in ChatGPT is now in the board document. And I'm just going to upload it. And we can watch it upload. While it's doing that, recommended model, I tend to use it at no recommended model. Users will use whatever model they prefer. Capabilities, do we want it to be able to do a web search? Yes. Do we want it to be able to do Canvas, which is when it creates the document inline inside of GPT? The answer to that is yes. Do we want it to be able to create images? Yes. Code interpreter and data analysis. I'm going to turn this on because if we ever have spreadsheets or some kind of financial information that we want it to analyze, then we need to turn this on so it can do the data analysis. Code interpreter, most of you won't use it. That's when you're going to upload or put code in there and it's going to interpret the code and tell you what's going on with it. So we've turned all of these on. We're not creating any actions. And let's see what's going on with this document because it should have uploaded already. Let me see if I close it from this side. And as soon as that happens, we can go in and we can start to test. Oh, what is taking so doggone long? I would go on without it, but we need that document in order to, you know what, I'll update what we have now and then I'm gonna refresh to see if it's actually uploaded. Let's see what we got. Okay, did not upload. Let's try this one more time. Board information. All right, while we're waiting for that to actually build out, we're going to go over to Claude. So let's take a look at oh, we finally did. Okay, so we have the uploaded files. I am going to update it and we're going to test it. We can test it right here in the build window. So here is the prompt we're going to start to use for testing. I'm considering launching a $10,000 premium group coaching program in 90 days. Based on the uploaded business documents and advisor profiles, have my board review this decision and tell me what I should clarify before moving forward. Identify risks, opportunities, and next steps. Give me a go, no-go, or needs work recommendation. Again, all of these are in your workbook. So we give it the prompt. And that was pretty doggone quick. Okay, situation summary. You're considering launching a $10,000 premium group coaching program in 90 days for the business. It makes sense. The current business depends on, and it tells you what dependencies are because it's taking the information from the business documents that we uploaded. Board recommendation needs to work. Not a no-go, but not a clean go just yet. Relevant business context. From the uploaded business documents, leadership coaching currently serves mid-career and senior women leaders who want stronger executive presence, etc. The current offer is a 6-month private coaching package at $3,500. The new concept is a $10,000 group leadership program with the program length still undecided between 12 weeks or 6 months. And it's going to go through and it's going to give us the advisor roundtable, the offer architect. What is the offer architect saying? They would not approve the launch until the core transformation is sharper. So basically, we need to work on the offer. Right now, the offer risks sounding like a leadership coaching in a group format instead of a premium career advancement experience. The uploaded documents list possible outcomes such as executive presence, leadership voice, strategic communication, yada, yada, yada. So this is what the offer architect is saying now. And they're asking, what's the one primary transformation clients are buying? It's going to give some stronger positioning. Then the revenue reality advisor sees the $10,000 price as possible, but it's not validated yet. So current 3,500 offer proves there's willingness to pay for leadership coaching, but it does not automatically prove the market will buy a $10,000 group program. What the revenue reality advisor wants answers to, what makes this worth $10,000 compared to the current $3,500 private offer? The sales messaging advisor tells us what it's thinking. The premium delivery architect tells us what it's thinking. A client experience, truth teller advisor. You are not deciding whether to launch a $10,000 offer. You're deciding whether you can validate, sell, and deliver a $10,000 product in 90 days. It gives us the weak assumptions. And then it tells us none of these are impossible, but they're currently unproven. Points of agreement, points of tension where they don't agree, blind spots and risks, which we always need, and where the opportunities are. The CEO recommendation needs work. Proceed only as a validated founding cohort, not a full-scale premium launch yet. And it tells us what we need to clarify, what we need to do, what this is different from, and then your next 3 action items. Specifically, what do you need to do next? And then some follow-up questions, things that we need to clarify. Final board verdict is needs work with strong potential. So this has completely taken our idea, something that we want to do, and it has validated it for us. So now I am going to give you guys the link to this, to the custom GPT. So this is a link to the custom GPT advisory board demo. You guys can go in, play with it, kick the tires. Let me go backwards. Even use the conversation starters that we have here. Create a CEO decision brief. Have my advisors debate whether this launch plan is viable. Help me identify the blind spots in this offer. So basically what we just took all 4 of these and it just did all 4 of them. Any questions so far? All right, let's move over to Claude. My favorite. This is the second build path. So for those of you who don't use ChatGPT, or for those of you who prefer to use Claude for things like this, or basically for business, for decision making, let me see, let me grab my notes. New project. We're going to start with a new project. Oh, before I do that, the way that you find projects. So when you open up Claude, when you log into it, and has anybody noticed this? Claude is currently unavailable. There's something going on with the US government and Anthropic and Claude Fable 5. It's a whole mess. I'm going to research it later on today and probably write a post about it. But Claude Fable, they just released it. It is no longer available. Never a dull moment in the world of artificial intelligence. So when you open up when you open Claude, you're here at the chat window. You're going to come over here to the left-hand side and click on projects. We are then going to open a new project. The name of the project is going to be My Dream Board of Advisors, the way that we've been, same thing that we did with the other one. Let me take out that apostrophe. And let's see, the purpose. What are we trying to achieve? Copy and paste. And there we go. Now we create the project. So the same way we have custom instructions in ChatGPT to create a custom GPT, we also have instructions over here in Claude. So you have this in your workbook, and I'm going to copy my custom instructions from my little cheat sheet. And they're going to come over here to the right-hand side, and we're going to put those into custom instructions, just a copy and paste. And we're going to save the instructions. All right, then we're going to go to the files. And I'm going to upload the board information. Nope, that's the wrong document. Board information and Dream Board complete information. So I'm uploading the board information and I'm also uploading the business information. And those are permanent. Okay, Yvonne, thank you. Let's see. So let's test it out right now. And we're going to tell it. Using the uploaded business documents and advisor profiles, review whether this leadership coach is ready to launch a $10,000 premium group coaching program in 90 days. Pretty much the same thing that we did over with the custom GPT. And Claude takes a little bit longer to think. Excuse me. So the bones are good, the launch is not ready. Now we launched basically the same prompt. Excuse me. ChatGPT versus Claude. Again, for when it comes to business writing and business analysis, personally, I prefer Claude and Manus, particularly for this. So the bones are good. The launch is not ready. Elevate has a proven coach, real audience, and track record at $3,500. It says people will pay for this work. What's the relevant business context? And then it goes to the advisor roundtable. So each one weighs in on the issue and gives their opinion. Again, we've got risks and blind spots, which is what we asked for. Then we have opportunities, we have recommendation, we have the next three actions, and questions to clarify. Now, basically, it's given us the exact same information that ChatGPT did, but we can tell, let's see, let me go back to that last conversation. A couple of things are happening. Number one, ChatGPT was definitely much more verbose. Oh, no, that's the other one. Okay. More verbose. Claude is more business oriented when it comes to the results of the information. And it's saying, okay, 8 more questions. If you answer these 8 questions, it'll have the board run a real go, no go instead of a faith-based one. So let's do a little bit more testing because we want to make sure that the documents that we uploaded truly are being taken into account. And this is one way to do it. And these are in your workbook as well. Based on the documents I uploaded, summarize my business in plain language. Include what I sell, who I serve, my current offers, my main goal, my biggest challenge, what kind of advice my board should prioritize. And here it is in plain language. So I included this as one of the tests because you want to make sure that the project or even the custom GPT is reading your business documents. And let's see, it actually does. What you sell, who you serve, your current offers, your main goal, your biggest challenge, and what your board should prioritize. These three things in order. Okay. That's pretty accurate. So in your workbook, you have, I think it's 8 different tests that you can perform to make sure that your board of advisors, GPT or project, is actually reading your documents. And I'm going to grab one more prompt for a test. And that is review this offer for using my advisory board. I forgot to paste the offer in. Let's see what it does though. Evaluate the clarity, audience fit, pricing logic, value proposition, sales objections, delivery risks, customer experience, recommended improvements. Yep, here's what I can do. So I'm going to do this again, but how about we give it an actual offer? The offer is a 10,000. There we go. Now we give it an offer. It does much better when you're specific with it, which is why we have all the different brackets in there. Okay. As a price in a category, it's 4 words, and 3 of them tell me what it costs and what genre it's in. It's not an offer I can review. Okay. So then it's going to ask us, let's get clear. There's nothing to be clear about. Who's the audience? What's your pricing logic? What's your value proposition? What's your sales objection? What are your delivery tasks? Customer experience. We haven't answered any of that, so it can't give us a good answer. So this is a good test in that it shows that it's not just going to give us anything. It's not just going to create answers out of the clear blue. Okay. Here's the part that isn't a scolding. You've already done the hard version of this privately. The transformation is real. You deliver it one-on-one, and your buyer is well understood. You're not inventing an offer from nothing. You're packaging one that already works. That's a much smaller job than it feels like at 11 p.m. staring at a blank document. So it's saying, bring me these five things, and the board will run an 8-point review of your offer. So let's see, test 8, test 9, if there are any missing documents, test 10, the CEO decision brief. All right, what a strong board response looks like. And here's some mistakes that I want you to avoid. So I'm going to go back to, and you guys know, if you've been with me, you know that I'll go off script quickly. And of course I did here. So I'm going to skip through several slides because we've already addressed them. Any questions? Because we're coming too close to the end of our session. The decision review. Okay, so these are the tests. The advisor debate. I suggest you run the advisor debate. That's a fun one. That's when they get to argue with each other. And you get to watch what the responses are. All right, common mistakes to avoid. Oh, excuse me. Do not choose famous names or famous people just because. Do not build too many advisors too soon. You can add them on one by one. Do not skip the business diagnosis. If you skip the business diagnosis, then you don't have the proper business documents to upload and it completely loses all context. Do not upload random documents. If it's not something that is specifically about your business, don't upload it. You're better off not having it than to upload something that's random or something that's built on somebody else's business. When you're creating the advisor profiles, being vague is not good. This is your board of advisors. These are people who are, or resources that are advising you. They should be as specific as possible to that seat or that role. Do not forget to test the board, which is why I gave you 10 separate test scripts that test different scenarios. If you give it weak instructions, and you're going to get weak answers. So use the prompts in the workbook to create your own set of instructions. Again, make it specific to your business. Do not build without a clear purpose. There's a specific reason that we're building this board of advisors. What are you hoping to get out of it? What kind of advice are you hoping to glean? What kind of opportunities are you hoping that they're going to help you uncover? So again, we talked about specificity. The more specific you are, the better, and you're going to get much better results. So the first one that you create is version number 1. You don't need a perfect board to start with. There's no such thing as a perfect board. My board is evolving and changing. So let's start with just a version 1. You need your business goal, your 3 advisor seats, your 1 business snapshot, your 1 offer summary, and your advisor packet. That's it. Start simple. And then start with the 1 real decision prompt, and you have a whole list of prompts in the workbook that you can use. You can always improve all of these things later. So start small, start simple, and then you can make it more complex from there. So I know it says student homework. Of course, this is going to be on your own. This is on the honor system. And your homework is going to complete your board purpose statement. You're going to finish your business diagnosis using the prompts. You're going to choose 5 advisor seats, not all of them, but you're going to choose 5 advisor seats. You're going to research between 1 and 3 sources per advisor. You're going to create your advisor profiles. You're going to gather your minimum viable board packet, and you're going to build either a custom GPT or a Claude project. It does not need to be both. It's one or the other. Sometimes Claude is easier for people. Sometimes the custom GPT is easier for others. So after that, after you build, you're going to run at least 4 of the 10 tests in the back of the book that I gave you, because you want to make sure that your board is useful. If it's giving you generic advice, it's not useful. So you want to remember that. And again, if you enjoyed today's class and you actually got something out of it, I would love to see you in our Open Claw class on Thursday. I am popping the information for that again into the chat. There is a 50% off coupon there as well. I'm also going to be posting it in the group, so it's a community group. It's a community coupon. But your final takeaway your documents, everything that we built at the top of the class, that that's your case file. That's how you put everything together and how you know what to put into your business documents. So no guesswork, you've got everything that you need right there. The advisors are the lenses. Each advisor brings a distinct perspective to every decision. And you're going to want to diversify your advisors. You're going to want to diversify the resources, the type of information that you're getting. And then prompts call everything to order. The prompts are what brings everything together after you've built your board of advisors. Your board of advisors, this is a decision room. Your documents are the case file, and the advisors are the lenses. The prompts bring everything to order, and when it's built well, it will help you think more clearly, see risks sooner, sometimes even see risks that you didn't realize. And my board of advisors helped me do that earlier this week. So we're not building a fan club, we are building a true boardroom. So I am going to stop here. Are there any questions? We have come to the end of today's session. And please go through your student workbooks, use your student workbooks. Let me know how I can potentially assist if you need any additional resources.